Now, you're known for saying, know your team.
It's not about process, it's not about technology, it's about the people.
What's your process or strategy or actions do you take to get to know your team?
There's a few things there.
Rich Brown, the Business Transformation Director with Liverpool Victoria, known as the brand LV over in the UK. In a data-filled world, we still gotta trust our instinct.
There was a particular project, all the stats were saying that things were going okay, but I just had a little nagging doubt in the back of my mind that things weren't where they should be. If you feel something in your gut, it's probably right.
Such a good reminder.
Yeah, definitely.
You're using your one-on-ones a little bit differently.
Part of it's got to be around the person's own development. Are they comfortable that they've got the skills and experience? Do they need particular support on the topic?
It's refreshing to hear a different perspective.
Collectively, the team does more because of it.
What's the advice that you give your younger self?
That's a good question. The first one is,
welcome back to CEO Tech Live. My name is Ben Fanning, your host, and this episode's brought to you by Hexaware. I've got a treat coming your way today with Rich Brown, who is the Business Transformation Director with Liverpool Victoria, known as the brand LV over in the UK. He's got 30 years of leadership experience and change delivery experience within the financial services industry. Rich, welcome to CEO Tech Live.
thank you, Ben. Nice to see you.
Now, you're known for saying, know your team. What do you mean by that, and why is it so helpful?
So for me, the key thing is that your team are what deliver for you. It's not about process, it's not about technology, it's about the people. And the way we get the best from our people is to really know them and understand what makes them tick, what they like, what they don't like, and how we can support them as leaders.
And so what's your process or strategy or actions do you take to get to know your team?
So I think there's a few things there. It's important that we talk one-on-one with people. You need to make people comfortable to speak to you. So often that means opening up about yourself with them, being a bit vulnerable and explaining things about how you work and what you like. We also then do things as a team. So we'll do team building exercises, we'll learn about personal preferences, all those kinds of things. And then last but not least, you have to work together and to trust, and that's something you build over time.
Is there one team building experience that's most memorable to you or sticks out in your mind that was particularly effective?
I think one of the early things I did, I was very fortunate in one of my early roles at Barclays. They took us on some training at the London School of Economics. And the guy who ran the course was actually the head of marketing for Barclays, but he was passionate about people development. And he shared really openly his story, where he'd come from, his motivations, and that really resonated with me. So that's something I've always tried to do with my team since.
Wow. And so is this usually a one conversation thing and it kind of break through the ice and you're building your team, or do you find that when you bring people in, maybe they're not used to having a more personal experience with this? How do you sort of create that culture with your team?
So I think when you start new teams, and in some ways with projects that's easy, you tend to bring a team together. There's a great opportunity to do that as a one all together. But when you bring new people in, it's often then more about one-to-ones, and then maybe doing regular team sessions. So it's a bit of both, I think.
Is there one person or team that maybe comes to mind where they weren't really together initially, but then you worked with them, and then over time, you guys were able to cross some major threshold?
I think that comes with most projects, to be honest. There are good days and bad days. So quite often you need to do something different. So if you feel that something's not working, then that's really the time to focus back with the team and to spend a bit of time together. Not on the specifics necessarily on the problem, but actually on the interaction, on the interpersonal side.
So what was your first job and what did you learn from it?
So my first job was as a student. So I worked in a local NHS hospital trust. I worked in the finance department, and the guy that was the leader of that team, a guy called Des, was really experienced. He'd worked in industry, he'd worked for Unilever, had a really senior finance role in Unilever. So having worked there for a little while, I asked him, why are you in the hospital? A local hospital. That's not an obvious step to take. So Des explained that he'd had some health issues, and he'd had fairly serious heart problems and indeed a bypass operation. And he decided then, for his own sake, the most important thing was to be really close to an operating theatre. So, so that was his personal motivation for work. But he was fantastic as a first boss. He really encouraged me. He was giving me the opportunity to learn. So I got to do, the initial piece of work that everyone does in the teams, the not so great stuff, but I learned a whole breadth of skills and experience. And he was fantastic at supporting people. He gave me lots of opportunities. I was only a student at the time, but he gave me lots of opportunities to learn and progress, and ultimately encouraged me to go on to move outside of that environment to grow myself.
Well, shout out to Des. And the first part of that story, I was like, man, what he taught you was prioritize. And for him, his priority was be near the operating hospital, just in case.
Just in case.
And and it sounds like it's really cool when someone of that stature is really taking care of their people and has an eye out for development. How much of your time today does that mind share creep in for you for, hey, I've got to develop people? Because there's the job to get done, but then there's this whole, I need to develop the team. And so how do you kind of work that into your day to day?
So for me, I'm quite a practical person. So it's about scheduling the time. So it's about making sure that we've got regular one-to-ones, but the one-to-ones are not about the work necessarily. They're about the interpersonal skills around the learning. I've got someone in my team who's recently left to join another company. Fantastic opportunity for him. I couldn't possibly stand in his way. It was a great opportunity for him. So, I wished him well as he left, and we recruit someone new into the team and look to train them up as well.
Well, one-on-ones for a lot of leaders are about the leader checking on people's progress. Like, hey, you said you were going to do this, where is it? But you're saying you're using your one-on-ones a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit, like how are you checking on progress outside of that? I guess you're not using your one-on-ones for that, you're doing it differently.
We tend to do a little bit of both. So we'll have a portion of the time is obviously about where are we on things and have we done the things we've promised and we've committed to do. But a part of it's got to be around the person's own development. Are they comfortable that they've got the skills and knowledge and experience? Do they need particular support on the topic? It's an opportunity for them to use me as a sounding board to see whether a problem they've got at the moment is a way that I can help coach them to fix it. Now that's obviously in both of our best interests, that they grow and develop and we get collectively, the team does more because of it.
Love it. Let the record show one-on-ones can be used more than just checking on progress. And I think it's really cool that you're focused on what they need to do their job well. And it's easy to get sucked into to the reverse. I know for me, for years, I thought one-on-ones were for me to check on everybody's progress. And so it's refreshing to hear a different perspective. And it sounds like that's a great way to boost engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And then, we have team check-ins every week. We'll have regular sessions with the broader team at least once a month. Those tend to be more of a knowledge share rather than necessarily the one-to-one engagement. So, different meetings for different purposes.
What's the advice that you'd give your younger self?
That's a good question. I think there's a couple of things that I'd consider. The first one is know your team. I think we've already covered that one, but it's important to say. For me, it's probably the single biggest thing as a leader. The second one is trust your intuition. So if you feel something in your gut, it's probably right, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But if you're ever nervous about something, there's a reason for it, and you should trust your instincts and drill into it.
So it sounds like there's a story there. Like when's the time the numbers were telling you one thing and you trusted your intuition, or maybe didn't trust your intuition?
I think it's probably the other way around. So in my early career, there was a particular project, and all the stats were saying that things were going okay, but I just had a little nagging doubt in the back of my mind that actually things weren't where they should be. And I didn't do anything for a period of time and regretted it. And then ever since then you go, okay, when you hear the little nagging doubt, you need to investigate, you need to check it. And then if it's all okay, then that's great. At least you've done the work to prove the point.
In a data-filled world, we still got to trust our instincts, right? And
Absolutely.
our intuition. And find a way, or find the intersection of where those things meet when we lead. Yeah, such a good reminder. So starting to wind this up, what's it been like working with Hexaware?
It's been a great experience for me. I was part of the team that brought Hex into LV, or certainly more recently we expanded the services that Hex provide us. I've had the opportunity, which I've really enjoyed, to actually go over to meet the team in Chennai, spend time with them. Again, really important, I think, for our working relationship. There's some fairly big differences between UK customer practice and that of Indian customer practice in particular. But we're hugely reliant on Hexaware to provide both BAU services and also change delivery. So for us, it's really important. I was there only a couple of weeks ago with one of my program managers to do exactly the same thing, to make sure we'd got the senior leadership of a really important program for us working together. Because once they've done that, it's easier to work the problem through once we get into it. And there's bound to be issues. That's the nature of the work we do.
Well, and you've got to have that connection at all levels of the organizations. And it's so like you're making the trips, you're meeting with the people, and that can make a big, big difference when there's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I can't let you get out of here without asking the question, what's it like working for a 180-year-old company?
It's an honor. It's a privilege. But there's also a bit of history that weighs on you. You need the company to succeed. You need to be part of the team that takes it forward, that keeps growing that company. But for us, it's a company with a long history. It's a mutual. So we belong to our members, and it's about giving back to those members. So our customers are our members.
Wow, that's cool. I'm curious, do you know what was going on 180 years ago? Just for context.
So
what was happening?
So I think the origins of the company were largely around people not having enough money to pay for funerals. So one of the early policies that was sold was actually around savings policies to allow people to do what they needed to do for their families. So it's quite a heritage.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, and here's to the next 180 years.
Thank you very much.
And this interview will be a testament to that.
Thank you.
Rich, thanks for coming on CEO Tech Live.
Cheers.